And I'm not sure if you knew this fellow, but we lost our friend from the show, J.J. McGuire. Was the co-writer of a lot of the themes for WWE, along with Jimmy Hart back in the early '90s. Did you have any memories? Did you ever come across J.J. McGuire? And if not, what do you what is your opinion on the importance of having a really good intro song for a wrestler?
Oh, geez. Well, I know your first question, Jimmy. I didn't meet J.J. McGuire, but I'm very familiar with Jimmy Hart
Hmm.
and knew his background and music and sure there was you know you have a catchy tune going to the ring, people boom automatically, as soon as they hear those opening notes, they know the Killer Bees are coming or the Hearts are coming, and then with Hulk with his theme song, they as soon as boom they heard that he was coming, and it was great to do. We tried two or three different songs, and the problem was that if they were famous artists that had that song, you couldn't use it because then you would have to pay him,
Hmm.
and Vince didn't want to do that, so Vince sort of wound up making up his own music for a lot of, or maybe he had Jimmy Hart do it. He probably did, for a lot of his talent. But I know Brian and I came out to a couple different things. So, but you're right. It
Unfortunately,
sure adds to your,
yeah.
the selling of your presence.
Were you ever happy with your music, or what was your take on the songs you went out to over the years? Any particular one you thought
Well,
was
see, I
great?
wanted Springsteen music, and right away I couldn't do it. And then Brian wasn't too hip on it, and McMahon wasn't either. So
Yeah.
it didn't either way. It, I was. I thought, well, if we come out to something, we come out to something. So
Right. Right. Unfortunately, over the last few days, we've lost one of the all-time greats, Razor Ramon, also, of course, known as Scott Hall. Uh, can you give us or share with us any personal memories of Scott Hall and his impact on this business?
well, he was very unique because he came and as Razor Ramon and got over extremely well. Good looking guy, very athletic, had good presence in the ring, could talk, um, and boom, he took off. And I know he had, throughout his career, he had a horrible battle with substance abuse, and it took its toll on him. And I, you just add these number of people that succumb to substance abuse, whether it be alcohol or drugs, and it's amazing because there's probably 2 to 3 dozen wrestlers in the last 20 years that have passed because of substance abuse. And I know that he didn't die of substance abuse, but I'm sure it had a critical play on his life. And also, I know, the bumps and bruises, and he had a hip transplant, hip replacement, and then got blood clots and had a couple of heart attacks and wound up on a ventilator, and then they took him off. So, I mean, you just never know, and all of us who spent so much time in the ring, and I have figured that I've had close to 5,000 matches in 27 years,
Wow.
and all those matches I did a lot of drop kicking and stuff like that. So I ruined my knees and I ruined my shoulders, and consequently, I'm paying for that price now. Could be a lot worse, but I'll be 73 in August, and I thank the Lord for a very blessed life that I've had with a great family relationship with my wife and my kids, and also I still stay close with the number of some of the wrestlers that I was real close with, and I'm very active in my kids' life and my two grandsons. So, I'm pretty happy being retired now.
So it's fair to say, though, that if you could start over, Jim Brunzell would have still been Jim Brunzell, the wrestler, you would not have chosen a different life?
Well, I wanted to play pro football, but I wasn't good enough. So
Okay.
I had
Okay.
and it's funny because I remember when that 30-30 movie came out, a documentary on Ric Flair, and we went to the opening of it in Minneapolis, and after we saw it, I just I looked at it and I thought, geez, I shook my head, and then I said to Greg, I said, if Rick had it to do all over again, he'd do it the same way, and Greg said, yeah, he would. So, I mean. Yeah, I know, Rick I think Rick is 73 now. He might be closing in on 74, but he's still got his mug out there, and he's still hooing with everybody, and, more power to him.
So, last time you were in studio, you were with your partner, Brian Blair. Could you fill the fans in? How's Brian doing? I know he's gone through some really tough times, the passing of his son, and he's had some health issues. Could you share with the fan how Brian's doing?
Well, I talked to him a couple times, maybe once every 7 to 10 days, and if we're not talking, we're emailing or texting, and he's had 4 or 5 back and neck surgeries. And then the last time he had a surgery, he wound up getting an infection called osteomyelitis in his backbone. He damn near died. He was in the hospital for 4 or 5 weeks. And so he lost a lot of weight. And, the fact that, having to deal with the loss of his son this past summer is just horrifying for anybody, any parent to think that could happen, and then somebody that it did, and it was horrible. So right now he's in a good space. We're going to go to next week. We're going to go to Dallas for the WrestleMania WrestleCon down there a couple days, and it's always interesting to go to those because. Actually, the only reason why I go is because I want to see the guys that, we worked with, so many years ago, and you wind up seeing a lot of those guys. And I know that we're not going to be going to the WrestleMania matches, that's for sure. But Vince probably charges $2,000 for the nosebleed.
For parking.
Nosebleed seats.
No, that's for parking. What are you talking about?
He'd want us to park the cars.
Right.
Oh,
right.
man.
That's the thing with
Poor
Vince.
Vince.
Poor Vince? Forget that. Oh, my Lord. Jim, I'm not sure if you're watching the current product, but me and Mike are on a tangent lately with AEW. Would you like to weigh in on the use of fake blood and fake thumbtacks? Any thoughts?